slim, fragile, that has always been the harsh standard of beauty that society imposes on women. But behind that seemingly flawless exterior, there are silent obsessions creeping in slowly, gnawing at the soul. Karen Carpenter, a star blessed with an angelic voice, a talent that captured the hearts of millions, yet she gradually withered under the relentless pressure to be perfect in the eyes of the world. It's a haunting story of fame, of unbearable pressure, and of the illness that stole her life in just 1 week. Right before what should have been a joyful birthday, what secrets hid behind that gentle, radiant smile? What pain did she endure that the world never saw? And why is it, even more than 40 years after her death, that the name Karen Carpenter still echoes in the hearts of so many, stirring admiration, sorrow, and a deep sense of loss? Karen Ann Carpenter was born on March 2, 1950 in New Haven, Connecticut, into an ordinary American family. She grew up alongside her brother Richard in a modest home where music seemed to seep into every corner. When the family moved to Downey, California in 1963, a new world opened up for both siblings. As a teenager, Karen was initially passionate about dance, but the rhythm of the drums soon captured her heart. She practiced tirelessly, day after day, sitting behind her cherished Ludwig drum set as if it were a treasure. But music wasn't just about rhythm. Karen's warm, smooth voice quickly silenced everyone around her whenever she sang. Under the guidance of choir teacher Frank Pooler, she discovered she had a rare vocal range capable of touching listeners deep in their hearts. Karen's childhood wasn't just peaceful days. It laid the foundation for a unique talent. A petite, shy girl hiding a musical power that would later astonish the world. Her time in Downey became fertile ground for nurturing her gift. In high school, she signed up for dance classes to stay fit, but a chance encounter changed everything. A school friend who played drums sparked Karen's fascination with percussion. From the moment her small hands touched the drumsticks, Karen seemed to find her own heartbeat in every strike. She practiced relentlessly, the sound of her drums echoing throughout the small Downey home. Gradually, Karen became not only a skilled drummer, but also confident in her singing. And it was that voice, a warm, rare contralto in the pop world, that made her music teacher Frank Pooler stop and listen. He recognized in this young girl a special gift, a voice capable of reaching the deepest emotions of listeners. Together with her brother Richard, a piano prodigy and arranger, Karen began stepping out of their small room to perform in their first gigs. Their band, initially just small performances at schools and cafes, gradually found its unique voice. Karen and Richard's music intertwined as if born to travel the same path. Few could have imagined that from these simple garage rehearsals, one of the most legendary duos in music history, the Carpenters, began their journey. Their first major opportunity came in the late 1960s when Karen and Richard decided to try out for a televised talent show. On that stage, under bright lights and mounting tension, Karen sat behind the drums, Richard at the piano. What seemed like a small performance became unforgettable the moment Karen sang. Her warm, gentle, yet powerful contralto stunned both the audience and the judges. It wasn't just a successful performance, it was a moment that proved to the world that Karen was not just a girl who could play the drums, but a rare vocalist with a distinct, unmistakable sound. They won the contest, a victory that brought not only a prize but also opened the first doors to the professional music world. With that win, the Carpenter siblings' names began to circulate more widely. They received performance invitations and attracted attention from music producers. And the music that once filled a tiny Downey garage was now ready to reach far beyond, ready to write a new chapter in pop music history. Karen Carpenter's voice quickly became legendary. Her rare contralto in pop music was both warm and sweet, carrying hidden depths of emotion. Listeners often said that just one note from Karen could soften their hearts. Even Paul McCartney of the Beatles once exclaimed that Karen was the greatest female singer in the world, a compliment any artist would dream of receiving. But Karen was not just a singer, she was a natural drummer, and unlike many singers of the time, she often sang while playing the drums live in every performance. The sight amazed audiences. A petite girl, her strong hands keeping the beat for the band, while her gentle voice filled the room. Her talent was widely recognized within the music industry. She was ranked among the top 10 drummers in the world, standing alongside legendary male rock musicians. For Karen, the drums were not just an instrument. They were her heart, her lifeblood, the foundation for all the melodies that enchanted millions. The Carpenters became one of the most successful phenomena in American music history. From 1970 to 1984, Richard and Karen Carpenter captivated the world with timeless hits like Goodbye to Love, Yesterday Once More, Close to You, and Rainy Days and Mondays. These songs didn't just play on the radio or in cafes, they became the soundtrack of an entire generation's memories. At that time, the Carpenters were like a sweet storm, sweeping through the music scene dominated by the intensity and frenzy of rock. In that context, Karen's gentle, haunting, and emotionally rich voice, combined with Richard's soft, intricate compositions, provided the perfect counterbalance. They created a unique musical space, a refreshing breeze amid the noisy, intense sounds of the era. The group's popularity was truly staggering. They received countless prestigious music awards and, more importantly, the passionate love of audiences worldwide. With over 100 million records sold, the Carpenters secured their place among the best-selling artists of all time. Richard Carpenter was the musical brain, crafting the delicate structures of each melody. But without Karen, without that tender yet aching contralto, the magic of the Carpenters would never have reached millions of hearts. Karen Carpenter, with her rare contralto, became one of the most beloved female singers in the international music market throughout the 1970s and 1980s. When the Carpenters first rose to fame, audiences were quickly captivated by Karen Carpenter's sweet, angelic voice. She was a talented drummer, but in the public eye, the image of a petite girl sitting behind the drum kit seemed to be overshadowed by her rare, warm vocals. Producers and even her brother Richard recognized that audiences wanted to see Karen front and center under the spotlight rather than hidden behind the drums. Gradually, Karen was forced to give up her role as the lead drummer, a position that had once brought her pride and a sense of security. She stepped up to the microphone and became the focal point of every gaze, but that glittering spotlight brought with it tremendous pressure. Karen was naturally sensitive and introspective, facing audiences, dealing with the media, and meeting ever-growing expectations caused her constant anxiety. Fans adored Karen's voice, but they also scrutinized her appearance. In an era where beauty standards were narrowly defined by slimness, Karen began to feel insecure about her body. She constantly compared herself to other stars, to the expectations of her family, especially her talented but strict older brother. Under the double pressure from fans and loved ones, Karen gradually lost her self-confidence. I can't help but wonder, if Karen had been more steadfast and hadn't given up her love for drumming, could she have maintained her mental stability over the long term? But of course, what happened had already passed and could not be undone. And so, from obsessions about her weight, Karen slowly spiraled into anorexia nervosa. When the stage lights shone on Karen, the press magnified every detail of her body through long lenses and harsh camera angles. From magazine photos, whispers spread, "Karen is getting chubby." In reality, many images were distorted by lenses and lighting, but for a perfectionist like Karen, the sense of being too big became an obsession. Even before her illness took hold, she had begun viewing her body through a distorted lens, the public mirror of the media. In an effort to fix what she believed were flaws, Karen hired a weight loss coach. Her initial intention was reasonable, to regain confidence, to be healthier and sing better. But the line between self-care and excessive body control was thin. Schedules, weighing, diet tricks gradually became mandatory rituals. The more she was praised for getting thinner, the more Karen believed that the only path to perfection was to shrink herself even further. Her training then escalated. As a drummer, a physically demanding instrument, her body responded quickly. Muscles developed, especially in her legs and shoulders. Ironically, on stage and under the camera, these muscles made her appear bigger in her performance outfits. Believing she was still not small enough, Karen tightened her regimen even further, trapping herself in a cycle of self-blame. The more she trained, the more dissatisfied she became. From there, she gradually moved into extreme food restriction. Meals were no longer nourishment. They became tests of discipline. Every bite she took was accompanied by guilt. She withdrew, avoided communal meals, and chose portions so tiny they were abnormal. The sense of control brought fleeting moments of euphoria, followed immediately by a constant gnawing fear of gaining weight. Karen's weight plummeted. At one point, she dropped to around 40 kilograms, a dangerously low number for an adult. Her stamina decreased, her heartbeat became irregular, and her performance costumes hung loosely on her increasingly thin frame. But on stage, her angelic voice tried to hold it all together, warm, gentle, even as the storm raged inside her, hidden from the audience. Even while on tour, Karen continued training. She carried a portable step platform so she could exercise anywhere, anytime, backstage, in hotel corridors, between performances. What had begun as a healthy habit gradually became an internal command. It was no longer "I want to." It became "I must," because skipping even one day would unleash the fear of weight gain and overwhelming guilt. The spotlight on stage could never hide the troubling signs in Karen Carpenter's eating habits. Friends and family recalled that during meals she would barely touch her food, lightly prodding it with a fork, pushing pieces to the edge of her plate, or quietly sharing portions with others. Sometimes she would smile as if enjoying her meal, yet in reality she ate almost nothing. These were the first signs of anorexia, a disorder in which sufferers hide their refusal to eat through subtle, deceptive actions. Karen's body grew increasingly frail, dangerously thin. Her heartbroken mother tried to help, deliberately offering parts of her own meal, hoping her daughter might take just a bite. But those efforts were like a single drop in the desert. Karen began hiding her weight loss by layering clothes, creating the illusion that she was still healthy. In truth, her weight continued to plummet, at one point dropping to just over 30 kilograms, a dangerously low number for an adult. This extreme frailty could not be hidden from the audience. At the peak of the Carpenters' fame, the public began to whisper in concern as Karen appeared on stage, gaunt and pale. The press described her as a ghost on stage. Some nights she was so exhausted that she had to lie down backstage or couldn't finish a song. A much-anticipated European tour had to be canceled, resulting in significant financial loss. Her brother Richard, eyes filled with worry, had to publicly apologize to the audience for his sister's absence. But this was only the beginning of her downward spiral. Karen paused her career for 5 years to recover, yet her condition barely improved. Her weight crept up slightly but hovered around just 37 kilograms, still far below a healthy level. At the same time, Richard fell into a sedative addiction, casting both siblings, the very soul of the Carpenters, into darkness. People remember Karen from that time with hollow eyes, a fragile body that seemed it could shatter at any moment. A once brilliant era appeared to be coming to a tragic end. Yet beneath the stage lights and the pressures of fame, deep inside, Karen Carpenter always longed for one thing: a peaceful, loving home. Even standing at the pinnacle of fame with timeless love songs, Karen's true dream was not the spotlight. It was a small, loving family, the laughter of children, and the protection of a man who would love her genuinely. Karen's mother, witnessing her daughter growing thinner and weaker from illness and loneliness, believed that only love could heal her heart. She encouraged Karen to find someone to commit to, advising that marriage would be the best remedy for her soul. At a meeting, Karen met Thomas James Burris, a 30-year-old businessman, polite in appearance with a captivating manner of speaking. After just 2 whirlwind months of dating, they decided to marry. For Karen, it was the greatest hope. Finally, she thought, she had found the man who could help her build the family of her dreams. But the truth soon proved cruel. After the wedding, Karen discovered that Thomas had been divorced, already had children from a previous relationship, and worst of all, had voluntarily undergone a vasectomy to ensure he would never have more children. For a woman dreaming of the sound of children's laughter, this was like a dagger straight to the heart. She felt betrayed, her dreams shattered in the very first days of marriage. Karen had wanted to cancel the wedding immediately, but her mother intervened. She feared that a hasty breakup would damage the family's honor, and worsen Karen's fragile health condition. Trapped between family pressure and personal heartbreak, Karen reluctantly continued a marriage where her heart had already grown cold. Life together quickly turned into a tragedy. Thomas constantly demanded money, claiming it was for investments, but in reality, he squandered it on luxury cars and extravagant parties. He was not a husband who protected her, but a playboy who only knew how to take advantage. Even more devastating, Thomas abused her emotionally, frequently making cruel remarks, calling Karen just a bag of bones. A vicious wound for a woman desperately battling an eating disorder. These insults and thoughtless behavior slowly killed Karen's hope for happiness. When Thomas coldly declared that he never wanted children, Karen's greatest dream, becoming a mother, was completely shattered. After 14 brief but agonizing months, Karen Carpenter was forced to choose divorce. The failed marriage not only took away her faith in love, but also deepened the mental scars that already ran deep. Instead of a refuge, this marriage left Karen feeling even more isolated, fragile, and pushed her closer to the tragic fate that music history will forever mourn. In the early 1980s, just as her dazzling career seemed to be opening even more doors, Karen Carpenter's body had deteriorated to alarming levels. Her weight had dropped to around 35 kilograms, a number that would make anyone shudder. Her close friend Aichi Laman decided to move in with her, becoming an unwilling roommate in the hope of caring for Karen and helping her through this critical period. In her search for salvation, Karen met Dr. Stephen Levenkron, a renowned specialist in anorexia nervosa. But the cruel paradox of her illness was this. Even when her body was little more than skin and bones, Karen could not recognize the extreme thinness she had reached. In the mirror, she still saw a woman who needed to lose even more weight. This was the brutal trap of her disease. It distorted her perception of her own body. During therapy sessions, Karen began to reveal the dangerous habits that had ravaged her body. Using laxatives as diuretics, abusing thyroid medication to speed up metabolism, all just to lose weight at any cost. Dr. Levenkron warned her bluntly that if she continued, she could face sudden death at any moment. Heart failure, a fall from which she might never rise again. Karen promised to stop the medications and began a strict treatment regimen. 5 days a week, she walked to the hospital to see her doctor. But tragically in Karen's mind, these walks became yet another way to burn calories, a part of her weight loss obsession rather than therapy. Her weight plateaued, there was no improvement. When all conventional methods failed, the doctor had to resort to the final measure, intravenous nutrition. In just a few short days, Karen's body absorbed a large number of calories, resulting in a 5-kilogram weight gain. This sudden change sparked controversy in the medical community as it was not accompanied by internal psychological healing. Still, Karen continued to fight. She began eating 3 full meals a day, and over time, she gained a total of about 13 kilograms. In the final month of her life, Karen returned home to her family. Aichi Laman believed she had truly recovered. Karen looked healthier, was eating regularly, and even spoke about plans to return to her music career. She shared with her loved ones that she was eating better, as if everything were finally under control. On her last night, Karen shared a warm dinner with her brother Richard, a moment that seemed like a new beginning. But tragically, it was the calm before the final storm. On the morning of February 4th, 1983, Karen Carpenter woke up like any other day in her parents' home in Downey, California. It was a very important day. She planned to sign the final papers to finalize her divorce officially. Earlier, Karen had made a pot of coffee and returned to her room to get ready. But when her mother, Agnes, didn't see her daughter come downstairs, she went upstairs, opened the door, and was confronted with a horrifying scene. Karen lying unconscious on the floor, her face pale, her body motionless. Although she was rushed to the hospital immediately, Karen did not survive. Doctors concluded that the cause of death was sudden cardiac arrest, but beneath that, it was the result of years of battling anorexia nervosa. In the final months of her life, Karen seemed to be recovering. Her weight had increased to nearly 50 kilograms, her face appeared more lively, and family and friends dared to hope that she had finally overcome the cruel disease. But that rapid recovery was a double-edged sword. Experts call it refeeding syndrome, when a body weakened from prolonged starvation suddenly receives a large amount of food, the heart and other internal organs cannot cope. The detailed autopsy revealed the heartbreaking truth behind her death. In Karen's stomach, doctors found no solid food at all. Instead, her stomach and intestines were unusually swollen, a common sign in patients with eating disorders, caused by the body struggling through cycles of prolonged fasting, binging, and self-induced vomiting. Notably, no illegal drugs or narcotics were detected in her blood, making the mystery even more profound. Next to Karen's bed, police found a bottle of Ativan, a mild sedative often prescribed by doctors. But Ativan was not the direct cause of death. The crucial clue lay in another detail tied to her extreme weight control habits: ipecac syrup. This syrup, once used to induce vomiting in cases of poisoning, when abused over time, has devastating effects on the heart muscle. It weakens the fibers, leaving a fragile heart like Karen's unable to maintain a steady rhythm. The final conclusion: Karen Carpenter died of heart failure directly related to anorexia nervosa and the long-term abuse of ipecac. After this shocking death, ipecac, once sold freely in pharmacies, was banned from widespread sale as a measure to prevent similar tragedies. Karen's passing left not only a void in the music world, but also sparked controversies over her assets and marital status. Although legally still married, she and Thomas James Burris were separated at the time of her death. This meant that her estate, valued at around $8.5 million, could have gone to Burris, the husband who had caused her so much pain during their brief marriage. However, a crucial detail changed everything: a will Karen had written a year before her death. According to it, the marital home remained with Burris, but the rest of her estate was left to her parents and her brother Richard. Thanks to this, the majority of Karen's wealth returned to her family, the people who had always supported her and been her greatest emotional anchor throughout her life. On the other hand, numerous memoirs and biography excerpts describe Agnes Carpenter, Karen's mother, as a strong-willed, controlling parent who favored Richard, leaving Karen for many years with a sense of emotional deprivation, insecurity, and a constant need to be good enough to be noticed. That drive, both the longing for recognition and the fear of never being enough, followed Karen as a shadow throughout her rise to stardom. In the early 1970s, she began dieting after seeing stage photos that made her feel untrim in front of the public. The era's fascination with twiggy-thin figures only added fuel to the fire. Records indicate that Karen would count every calorie, plan every meal, losing weight so rapidly that it began to worry audiences. This was the initial spark, the pressure of appearance demanded by her profession. But what kept the fire burning came from within her own family. A particularly painful detail in the records: each time Karen overdieted, her family, especially her mother, paid more attention to her. This belated concern, something Karen had always craved, unintentionally became a negative reinforcement. The thinner she became, the more attention she received, and thus her body became the only place where Karen could truly exert control to earn the sense of being loved. For those already predisposed to insecurity due to familial comparisons, this psychological mechanism could easily turn into a vicious cycle. Even when her family attempted intervention, emotional distance remained clear. During one family therapy session, when encouraged to say, "I love you, Mom," Karen turned to wait for a reciprocal response. But according to the notes, Agnes only wanted to be addressed as Mrs. Carpenter and then avoided saying anything back. She spoiled Richard so much, a close family member recalled after the session. This small moment exposes the emotional core of the story. A child growing up starved for affection learns to seek power in the only place left, controlling her own body. It's also important to be fair. Anorexia never has a single cause. It's a multifactorial disorder: perfectionist temperament, grueling tour schedules, a celebrity culture obsessed with appearance, emotional upheavals, all combined with family dynamics to create a perfect storm. Recent research and biographies, such as Lead Sister by Lucy O'Brien, also emphasize that Karen's family context and the entertainment industry amplified her vulnerabilities, intensifying the forces that shaped her struggle. If you found this video helpful and interesting, please subscribe, and turn on notifications. Every comment from you is very meaningful to us and is a great help in preparing our next content. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore further, please feel free to leave a comment. We will continue to strive to bring you better content and more insightful stories. Wishing you good health and may each day be filled with wonderful things. See you in the next video.